Hi everyone, I'm your Gaurav here, and in this lecture, which is basically lecture number 6 for Java placement series, right? And in this lecture, we will understand how Java handles multiple tasks altogether. So, what is multi-threading is, and we will understand what happens if in between the errors comes in picture, right? How do you handle it? Collections, what are they? So, all these topics we'll cover today in very detail. If you want to understand, so these are the few topics which we will understand today: multi-threading, exception handling, and try and catch. And finally, again, throw versus throws. What is the difference between both? Again, common exceptions like null pointer exception, array index out of bounds exception, right? Arithmetic exception. So all of these type of exceptions we will understand today. Also, we'll see if we want to generate a custom exception, then how we will do this. Okay, how we will do this. So that's what we will understand today. And I hope everybody is prepared for this lecture because I believe you already watched lecture number 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. Right. And if you haven't found all those videos, go to the playlist section, search Prapansta, go to the playlist, there you'll find Java placement series. Okay, then watch the previous videos. Perfect, yeah. Awesome. Just I'll tell you what is multi-threading is. Multi-threading is something like multitasking or something we can say. So here I'm just giving you an example of a hotel, how the people work. So let's say there is a hotel. So in hotel there is a kitchen. Okay, in kitchen one safe is working. The safe is working. The safe is working. The thing is, what eventually will happen? Somebody comes on the table and he ordered something. Okay, so now here better will take the order. He will coordinating with the multiple things, right? So in between, if the chef need any help, they can take from the other people who are available in the kitchen. So that's what this is the man thread. Thread basically, I'll tell you what is multi-threading. So you have to understand multi and threading. So first you have to understand what a thread is. So thread is nothing, it's a sub part, or we can say, the lightest part, or we can say the smallest part of a process. So process is nothing sort of which executes your entire program. That's a process. So let's say I've asked computer to calculate 5 plus 3. Okay, so now computer is calculating. So basically the process which is doing is that is the process, and that entire process will have multiple threads. So threads are nothing that if you have a bigger task and you need 20 people to do it. So all these 20 are the threads, right? And there will be head of it. So that's a man thread. You're getting my point? So what eventually will happen? All the other threads will work in parallel. We call it parallelism, right? So all the other threads, rather than the Ceph, will keep working in parallel, right? We'll keep working in parallel. So what eventually is happening? We are improving the performance. Task is being really executed in a fast way, right? And all the other processes are running in parallel. Right, so that's what the multi-threading meaning is. That every process will have multiple threads based on the requirement, right? And thread will have multiple states. And what I'm saying is that the threading may have like somebody can ask you what is multi-threading in Java. That's a common question, but few people may ask you very detail in the thread that what are threads. So you have to understand they are the lightweight process of the entire process. Okay, those execute the entire program, right? So the thing is, you can give example of a kitchen where one chef is working and other waiters are working all together, right? So these waiters are the threads, and while chef is the man thread. So man thread is also working along with in parallel few other processes also going on. And what eventually will happen if everything chef will do, it will take time. But now, if he has some helper, in that case, things can be faster. Yes or no? Things can be faster. So that's the multi-threading. Similarly, in Java, what happens is that your man task will be executed by the man thread, but in parallel, other thread will work to execute multiple other subtasks. Okay, so that's a multi-threading in Java. I hope making sense to everybody, right? Cool, yeah, cool. So now one thread can have multiple, every thread have a cycle. So that can be another detailed lecture, but the thing is, I want that you should explore by yourself this thing. That one thing what the thread is, so you know that it's a we can say a lighted sub process of the process, right? So understood here, understood this, I guess makes sense to everybody. Now here the thing is, thread can have multiple cycle. One thing when it's created, right? So new or runnable, like it can be executed or not, right? So runnable state, or we can have another like you want to pause or something, right? So you want to pause or something, we call it join method. Basically we have one thing, right? Also that may be executed or deleted, right? So all these cycles you can have. So explore the thread in detail. Okay, go to the internet, search for the thread. So that for the detailing understanding. But for the interview purpose, I guess multi-threading, what is multi-threading in Java, and something about a thread is more than enough. Okay, so here that's what you need to explore. But I hope now thread is clear. That if for Java, if you have a like bigger task, that can be divided into the process, and process will have the threads. These threads will allow you to execute your code faster. Simple, simple, super simple. Right. So that's what the meaning of the multi-threading. Awesome, yeah. Now, what is the exceptional handling? Okay. Basically, the thing we have to understand what is exception. So the thing is, exception can be in terms of when I'm running a code, I'm having an error. Okay, or something which I'm not expecting as of now. Syntax is not a problem here, but while running something, something came suddenly. Right, there may be a possibility. Let's suppose I don't know that this 10 divided by 0 is a error or not. But there is an exception. You cannot divide 10 by 0, right? Number cannot be divided by 10 by numbers cannot be divided by 0, right? So that's the exception. It's not directly error. It's an exception, right? So how do you handle all these scenarios, right? If you missed a semicolon, you can handle it easily. But what if you have missed this thing? You don't know, right? You have to handle some way, in some or another way, right? You have to handle this thing. So we do this particular thing with the help of try and catch and exception class. Try and catch and exception class. So we will understand how this actually works. So here you have a one thing, we call it try. Whatever code may produce an exception, we put within this, the risky code. After that, we have the catch. Here you handle the error. Here you handle the error. Here you will have an error object with the exception class, and then you handle the error here. Okay, so if exception comes, then what you will do? At the end, if you want that your code executed or not, you have a finally block. So no matter you're having exception or not, but any of this will execute. Every time this will execute. So that's what the finally is. Right. So basically, if you have an exception, this block will not execute, then you will have the output from this block. And this block will always run for the common functionalities, or we can say, like, no matter it's an exception or not, but I want to run this particular code. In that case, you will use the finally. Making sense? I hope it is. I hope it is. So awesome, yeah. Awesome. We'll go to the VS Code, and then we will understand this thing, this entire thing. Okay, and I hope I have somewhere VS Code. I'll open it, and here we have our Java placement. Right, I'll create a day 5. So here I will go, I'll write day 5, not day 5, day 6, right? Day 6 folder created. I'll go to this folder, Java CD day 6. Awesome. Now we are here, and I'll create a file here which is exception example or something. Okay, exception example or something. Cool, yeah. .java. Awesome. So now we have this thing. Yeah, exception can be two type. One type is that you use like whatever is available default exceptions, or we can say built-in exceptions. Another thing, if I want to do a custom by myself, then that can be a category, right? So in terms of who creates it, there are two category. Like one thing is that custom, second thing is built-in. Another category is the checked and unchecked. Unchecked basically that will come on the runtime. That there is not syntax problem, every resource is available, but at runtime suddenly something happens. We call it unchecked exception. Note it down, huh? Note it down. Unchecked exceptions, where it will like occur or throw at the time of when we are executing the code, right? So it's a running time. Or at compile time, we will have unchecked exceptions. That if there is a syntax problem, or maybe what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a file, that file is not available. Right? In that case, that's a compile time problem. We will say it's an unchecked exception. Sorry, that is checked exception. Okay, unchecked means at runtime. Awesome. So now here the thing is, what I'll do, I'll have a man method, public static void man. Here I have this method, and what I will do is probably not what I will try to do. I have some code. Okay, so let's say, and I'm assuming this code can have a problems. Okay, I'm assuming this code can have a problems. So I have try catch block. I have written here. Okay, I have this try and catch block. So in this block, what I will do is now I have some code. Let's say int age equals to, and I say 10 by 0. Basically, this is not possible, right? So by syntax, there is no problem, but actual there is a problem, right? So here what I'll do is now I'll come here, and in catch block you handle the exceptions. Out, and how do you get that message? So here you have message e.get message. That e is an error object, and you have .get message that will tell you what kind of error it was. Okay, so here I'll try to execute this Java C. The file name I'm having is exception example.java. Then Java, look at this, at compile time we had no problem. Then Java, and here we'll say exception example. So it's coming by 0, divide by 0 is an exception, right? But what kind of exception is this? If you're not sure, in there let it be. But if you have a surety that what kind of exception it can be, then you have to put a keyword. We call it throws. That you know that this code, this particular method may produce an exception. and you are already aware about that this exception may occur, in that case you use a keyword, we call it throws. We call it throws. So here throws, what kind of, it's an arithmetic exception. Why it's arithmetic exception? Because you know it's a division. You're dealing with the numbers, so there is a possibility that you have an arithmetic exception. So at the place of this entire exception class, you can use this arithmetic exception here. So now if I'll try to execute this now, what you will get, look at this, what you will get. By 0, but here it's a more specific. It's a more specific. Or either you don't want to print this message, you can directly say here, um, it was an arithmetic, okay, arithmetic exception. Right, that's what we can see. That's what we can see. So it's more clear that what kind of exception I'm producing. Right, what kind of exception I'm producing, that I'm aware about. And here if you want to give that message, you can give, up to you. Right, here I can come, and here somewhere I can say plus e dot get message. So now I'm very sure that here I'm handling some code based on the integer or arithmetic operations I'm doing. So if I'm having an exception, that will be arithmetic exception. In that case, you know that this man method may throw an exception, and that's why you're using this throws keyword here, if you're already aware about. Okay, so this is basically for unchecked exceptions. That here there is a no syntax problem, the resources are available, but at runtime there may be some errors. Right, that's why we understand. That's why we use this throws. Okay, so here we are already declaring that here possibility that we can have a arithmetic exception. There is a possibility, right? May occur. So now if you'll see how this looks like, so this is how this is coming. It was an arithmetic exception divided by 0. Awesome, makes sense? Perfect. So that's what the default is. But what if I want a custom? Right? What if I want to? What will happen if I write here 2? What will happen? Let's say I also want to print this Saute. So in that case, I will have this message that this A is printed, right? We don't have any exceptions. So now look at this, 5 is coming. Why? Because there's no exception. Simple, right? But if there will be an exception, this catch block will execute. There is another block, we call it finally. Okay, finally block, and this block every time it runs, no matter you are having exception or not. So if you want some kind of functionality which should run every time, you should use this finally block. So this is finally blocks, something I've written like this. Awesome, make sense? Amazing, amazing. Okay, so here I'll just execute this. So now look at this, it's coming every time, no matter it's an exception or not, it will come every time. Okay, perfect. So you remember what the exception is? So exception are the possibilities of error which may occur during the compilation or execution of the program. We handle them with the help of try and catch and finally block, right? So there are two categories when we talk about how they has been created. One is that built-in, second is the custom. So this was built-in, right? Arithmetic exception, this was built-in. But if I want a custom exception, which means I want to throw it manually, in that case I will have a custom exception. Awesome. And in terms of let's say compile time and runtime, we have two types. One is checked, another is unchecked. Checked is that happens at the compile time, that I'm trying to access. For example, I'm trying to access a file, and that file simply is not available. It's a compile time, right? And what will be the runtime? Runtime is this. I'm dividing 10 by 0, right? I don't know. There may be a logical error, so that will occur at the runtime, right? Not the compile time. So that's what when there is a runtime, we use throws. Otherwise, we don't, right? We don't have to. Awesome, yeah. So here I'll do now. I'll have a custom exception. I will have a custom exception. So somewhere I want to write something. Probably let's say a class. Oh, not this package. Every time this VS Code now. Awesome. So public class, and I have a class, and I say this class name is, let's say, custom exception. Custom exception. Okay. So here I have this custom exception. What I will do is now eventually, why this? So anyway, the public type. Oh, we cannot have two public classes in a one file because we already have one public class. So now here the thing is, we have this particular class. What I'll do, I'll try to create a constructor of this exception, and then at the place of this arithmetic, it's a built-in, right? Arithmetic is built-in. I want a custom. So how will I have? I'll define here. So the same name, because I need a constructor, custom exception. Here I'm assuming it will have a message that we will pass from somewhere. So string message I'm having. Okay, let's say this message I'm having, and here I can call a super. So super is nothing. It's basically a method which would call the exception class. But here you need that exception class. Extends exception. it's coming from the Java, this exception class. So what eventually will happen, whatever the message you will put na, wherever you get the exception, this will invoked automatically. And which message will you print it? Whatever the message will pass in the super. Okay, so here I'll pass the message itself, what I'm getting from the user. That's what the message I want to pass actually. You're getting my point? So that's what will happen here. So this is a custom exception. And how will I use it? How will I use it? So I'll come here at the place of arithmetic exception. Okay, at the place of arithmetic exception, what I will do is now, or else now I'll just let it be this thing. I'll just have another method in this. Okay, so let's say I have public void. Let's say it won't return anything. Public void method, which is, let's say, vote or something, that I want a method that should allow somebody to vote or not. So here I will have one variable which is age, and this may throw an exception. What kind of exception? Custom exception. Okay, custom exception. This may throw this custom exception. That's what I believe. So now if this happens, in this case I'll handle a try and catch block. Try and catch block. And now here the thing is, you have this option, either use this exception or use your custom exception. So I'll use my custom exception. Okay, custom exception that I'm having here, and I'll come here. Okay, I'll come here, and I'll tell you the use of throw keyword. Okay, that is for custom exception, that you want to put explicitly a particular message or exception. In that case, you use a throw keyword. Okay, so now here what I'll do is, now I'll write a condition that if age is less than 18, means somebody is not eligible for vote, then I want to throw an exception. So throw new. What is the exception name? This is custom exception. Put a message here. You are not eligible for vote. Okay, so that's what I've written here. What eventually will happen if somebody is having age less than 18, they will have this custom exception message. Yes or no? They will have this custom exception message. Awesome. But if, how do I want to print this error message? You'll print it here. So south, what I want is simply, let's say you want something message. If you want to print some message here, then that's fine. Otherwise, put it here, e.get message. Get message. Awesome. So now we'll try to call this boot method somewhere in this try block, or out of the try block. It's up to you. Okay, how do you want to handle this thing? So it's out of this particular thing. But how will you access it? It's a public method. I'll make it static also, by which I don't have to create an object, and that I hope you understand already, right? So now here I'll create a boot. I'll call my boot, and I'll pass, let's say, age is 12. So tell me what eventually will happen. What will happen? You'll say like, sir, this will give me an exception that you're not eligible for vote, and I'm afraid that that's correct. Aha. What does it say? Or declared to be thrown. Oh, the problem is now, I'm calling it, but it says to me, unreported exception, custom exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. Correct only. That must be come within the try and catch block. Right, that must come. So okay, at the place of handling here, we have to handle at the place of calling this thing. So here either you define another try and catch, okay, or you put it somewhere here. So probably I should take another example, but I didn't. But I'll make the comment of it, which you should have a proper understanding that what we had earlier. Okay, and here I'll come back. Try, catch. Okay, and now here I'll call this thing. And after that, here I'll print my exception. Okay, and here I don't want to throw this. Okay, awesome. So now here the thing is, basically here I will come and here I'll print it. The message I really want to print is south e.get message. Okay, awesome. So now we'll try to compile this again. This time this works because we haven't handled with the hello try and catch. So I'm saying you're not eligible for vote. Simple. Right? Why? From where this is coming? This is coming from here. It's coming from here. Now somebody will ask me, sir. Okay, fine. You're getting the point, right? Why? Because here the thing is, Here the thing is what is happening, how this custom exception is working. That I call this vote, but here I'm putting it manually. That if this is less than 18, throw this message. Or else I just want to print simple message. South, you are eligible for vote. Eligible for vote. Right? So that's what I want to program. Now people will say, sir, we can have a if else, but yeah, you can have if else, but I'm just telling you a demo example that how you can utilize this exception thing. Okay, so that's how you define your own class. You try to extend the exception class from the Java, and you use a super keyword that whatever message will come, I'll throw with the help of this exception class. Okay, so now here with the help of that exception class I'm having here, correct? And now we are throwing an error, custom error. This is a custom error. Whenever you want to throw a custom error, you use throw. Okay, it's a custom error. Custom error message. Whenever you want to put it, you have to use this particular thing, throw. Okay, and then your exception class, whatever it can be. I hope this is making sense to everybody. So now you understand why you need exception, that to handle unintentional situations where error may occur. One thing. Second thing is that your code will never break. Your code will never break, right? You will have always handling situations. Right. So some of the common exceptions are, let's say, that arithmetic exceptions we have seen, null pointer exception. For example, there is a string which is null, and you are trying to get the length of it. That's a null exception, right? So these scenarios are possible, and I hope this is making sense to everybody. Right. So now let's move to the another topic. The another topic is this thing. Exception handling we done. Now throw versus throws. You understand. Whenever that is, you think that throw versus throws. The throw is whenever you want to put a custom error message, you use throw. Throws is basically where you may assume like a particular method may throw an error, you use throw keyword. And that is basically for the runtime exception. Runtime exception. That logically there may be a challenge something, right? But syntax are correct. Resources are available. But at runtime there may be some problems, then you use throws keyword just after the method definition or method name, right? I hope that this is making sense to everybody. So what is throw and throws? Common exception, null pointer, basically when you try to deal with the null pointer. For example, there is a string str that is null and you are trying to get the length of it. That's a null pointer exception. Array index out of bound exception. So basically if you have an array and you're trying to access the value which is not available, it means you're trying to pass an index which is not available simply. In that case we will have this thing. Or let's see another example. I'll show you here somewhere. I will show you somewhere. Should I take another file? I really don't want, but I guess here I should take here. Let's say I'll take an example.java or something. Okay, and here what I'll do is now I'll show you something. So here I have try catch. Oh, but before that I have method. Now here I will have try catch thing, and here eventually what will happen now? Let's say I have this thing. I'm writing here string. Okay, and this is string, let's say str, and here I have written a null. Okay, so it's a null. What I'm trying to do is that I'll try to access the length of it. So south str dot length. So in this case, what is the possibility that you will have an exception? Obviously, right? At compile time, it's correct. Syntax wise, it's properly correct, right? But logically at runtime, that's not correct. You cannot have a length of a null variable, right? You cannot have. So in that case, we will have that exception. So e dot, I'll write here except get message. So either you put it because you know this method can throw. So the best advice is that you put it throws here and you write null pointer exception, and then you handle it here, right? Other choice is that in this way, that if you're not sure what kind of exception you can have, then you will use this thing. So I'll put a Java C, an example I have, or not X example, Java C, example.java, then write Java and example. Awesome. So here cannot invoke because look at this message coming. Cannot invoke string.length because local is null. So having null exception. You're having what? You're having a null exception. But if you don't want to print this message, then you already know. That what kind of exception you're having. Just showing you one thing, that if I write here throws, because it's coming at runtime, so I'll have null pointer exception, and then I'll come here back. Okay, and here I'll write null pointer exception. So one time, null pointer exception, and I write here. Now if you'll have the same message, the answer is yes. So here, look at this. But now you know what kind of exception is this. So here what you will do is now, you at the place of this message, you can put a custom message. So null pointer exception or anything, whatever you want at the scenario, right? So awesome. But the thing is, what if I have another exception along with this? I have another exception. So here what I'll do is now I'll have another int age equals to 10y0 arithmetic exception. Will it handle? That's my question. Will it handle? So let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. I'll just try to hit this button, Java C, and then Java. So it's saying like, look at this, arithmetic exception by 0, right? And here at example, everything is telling about, but you're not especially handling it. Look at this. This I haven't executed. If you comment this now, if you just comment this now, it will give you what? It will give you the message which you have written, which means that catch block was not executing. This was an exception by the normal Java program, right? You had a problem with your program. You haven't handled it. So in that case, you have to handle. So here the another way is that you put it like, if you're sure with that what kind of exception it can come, you write it here. Otherwise, you come and catch and again you write. So here I'll have an exception class and here error message. And then if I don't know what kind of exception I can have, here I'll print it. South, and here I'll come e dot get message. Awesome na? So basically what will happen eventually, now you're handling properly. Okay, so now look at this, okay? Look at this. This error message and now new error message. Now feel this differences you feel. What we're having, our code haven't broken out, our thread haven't stopped. They're just saying that there is an error. They're just showing that there is an error. But what if I remove this? What if I remove this? What will happen? Tell me. If I remove this thing, what will happen? You see? Did you see the last time? Compiling it's fine. At runtime, look at this. Right, look at this. What we are having. Right, so it's not a error message that you are giving. It's Java already is giving to you. Not appropriate. So in this case, you have to handle it manually like this. Okay, making sense that if you're not sure, then put this thing. If you're sure, then put this particular thing. Null point access and something. Awesome, yeah. I hope you understood this entire thing, and now you know. But what is this array index out of bound? So I'll go here. Basically, right now we also haven't handled this particular thing, but I'll tell you how you handle it. So I'll just remove this exception, and here let's say I have an array. So that is having an int value, ARR I call it, and here the values are 1, 2. Basically you have 0 and 1 index, right? If you have two values, and I'm trying to print something like I'm trying to access ARR3, third index. So now you will say, sir, this is not possible, right? It's simply not possible. Why? Because you don't have third index. Then what it is? It's an exception. It's an exception. So now let's go here. We will understand this thing. Here I'll try to compile this again. I'll try to print it. What did it say? Index 3 out of bound, right? But if you haven't written this thing, in this case we will have the thread exception, which means your code has been crashed, right? That shouldn't be a case. You should handle it. Your code should not crash. You should handle it, right? Your code should not crash. So that's what the thing is. I hope this is making sense to everybody now. Awesome. So now you know the common exception things, right? Amazing. Now custom exception, you already understood how you put it. Now it's time to collections. So basically collection is that, we know that what we have as of now. So we know that we have array, strings, right? All these things we have. What the problem with the array is that now array is having a fixed size. What? Fixed size in Java. Which means that if you have defined an array of 5 size, you cannot put a 6th value. Then what is the solution? Again, how will I handle the things in terms of key value pairs? Right? Is there any data type which can handle the unique values? So whenever these questions, these kind of problems come in picture, we have the collections, and we call it a Java collection framework, JCF. Okay, Java collection framework, JCF. So what does it is? It contains multiple different data type or different collections that will allow you to store the values. One is that list, or we call it array list nowadays. Array list. It's nothing. It seems like array, but it's a dynamic array, which means that you can have any size in this. But remember to explore in detail if you are planning for very deeper understanding that how this works. Okay, so basically eventually what will happen, you will put the value now, it also stored in the array. But whenever you put a new value, a new array created, so the bigger size, the previous value will be replicated by this. They will be, be say replaced by this particular thing, and your size will be bigger. So that's how it works, but you should have a detailed understanding on it, detailed research. Another thing in collection framework, we can have a hash map. Stores the value in terms of key value pair. Hash map. Another thing, we can have a hash set that stores the value in terms of hash codes, very faster for searching process, and also stores the unique value only. Okay, dynamic array means dynamic. I'm just giving a brief about it. Dynamic array means size is not fixed. You can put any number of values. Hash map, key value pair will have that level of option. Key value pair and another unique value. Unique values. You're getting my point? I hope you are. I hope you are. So let's go to the VS Code and we'll try to implement this thing. Right, we'll try to implement this thing. So where it is, here it is. Available. Awesome. So now here what I'll do is now I'll just create a new file. Let's say collection example example.java. So here basically what I'll do is now I'll have a man method here. So public static void man, I have a man method here, and I want something which store the unique value. For example, you have an array and somebody want to delete all the duplicated value. Then which collection you will use? Simply the hash set. Super easy, right? Super easy. That's not tough. So what I will do is now here I'll just have an array. So let's I have an array int arr, and here I have few values along with the duplicate values 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4. So what I want to just delete the duplicate values. So I can use simply the hash set. Okay. So here I have to import the hash set. First, the syntax is you have to write that name, and look at this. Automatically it's imported. It's coming from the util package. And now here you'll put the data type, what kind of value it will store. So I'll say integer, but this is a wrapper class. And I'll tell you the next lecture what the wrapper class is. You don't have to worry about. Here you give any name. So let's say unique or something. I've given a name. It's up to you what name you give. So new hash set. That's it. That's what the syntax is. And now here what you will do is now you want that all these values should be duplicate values should be removed. Then put all the values in this hash set. The one way is that you put in a way that one by one, and that will be time taken, right? And how do you do this? With the help of add method. Okay, with the help of add method. The another way, you iterate over it and you put all the value in this hash set. So I'll iterate over it. I'll try to use a for each loop, you remember, right? And how does it work? You have the data type, you have the value directly, and again you can have the array itself. And this is a feature later on Java 8. Okay, before Java 8 it wasn't available. Lambda function and these things are the feature of after Java 8. So what I'll try to do is now I'll try to get that value. What was it? It was a unique dot. Okay, add. So here I'll put the value which is value. So what eventually will happen here, one by one, this for each loop will give me one by one value from this array, like 1, then 2, then 2, then 2, and all value will be added to this. Okay, now if I show you the unique value, so south, and I'll try to print the unique. So look at how this looks like. So the name is Java C collection Java. Then again I will have collection example. Right. So now look at it's coming 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? These all duplicate value, but this is not a array. Okay, this is not an array. This is a hash set. If you want to convert, again you have to create an array and you have to put it. Right. So that's what the example of this hash set is. And let's say what I'm assuming is that I will define an array list, a dynamic array. So how will you define it? You write array list, data type, what kind of value it will store, the same syntax, same as that hash set. Okay, a given name, let's say list, I've given a name, it's equals to new array list. That's it. That's it. And now, no matter how many value you want to put it. It's up to you. But remember to look them in deeper. Search on the Google, hash set, all the methods of it. Okay, how do you check it? So for checking .contains method is there. Very fast searching for the hash set. Array list, you will put the multiple values all together, and the size you don't have to care about. So now here if I write here, how will you add it? So list.add. With the help of this add method, you will add a new value. So let's say I'm trying to add a 3. I've added it. And what if I want to print it? You can print it. So now here you write list. So look at this. One value will be added there. Java C, Java 3 is coming. What if I want to add a new value? So list.add. I'll add a new value. So which is, let's say I'm trying to add 4. So that 4 will be added. Okay, the 4 will be added. So how do you get the size of it? You have a dot size method for array list, and this has set. So you have the size method that will tell you the size, not the length. Dot size method. I'll just show you how this works. So here, simply I'll write a message here, and the size. Oh, I have to put double quote as a string, and the size edge. What is the size? I'll put it here. So that is list dot size for getting the size. Okay, that's what you have to remember. So now here I'll just try to execute this. So look at this, 3 and 4, and the size is da da da. So you don't have a limit. No matter how many value you want to put, you will use the array list whenever you want this kind of thing. How will you update it? With the hello set method, you will update it. Okay, with the hello set method, you will update it. So let's say at the place of 4, I want something else. So list dot set. So it will basically take the index where you want to update and the value. Okay, so let's say on one index, I want to put something which is, let's say 5. Okay, let's say 5. So I want to put the 5 at the place of 4, means at the one index. So now if I try to execute it again, so Java C, then Java, look at this, 5 is coming. So that's how you can update it. With the help of size, you can get the size of it, right? And remove method to delete the value. So all these methods you have. If you want to check something, you have contains method in this particular thing. Also, you can access the value with the help of indexes. So if I want an individual value, I can have. So remember to explore them in detail from the Google, but I'm just giving you one basic concept that what is collections are available in Java. Okay, so let's say I want to access similar like array. Okay, the one index I'm trying to access, I will have the value, but here you have to use .get method. .get method. But remember, from this particular hash set, you cannot have directly access. Indexes are not available in the hash set. Okay, indexes are not available in the hash set, but indexes are available in the array list. That's what you have to remember. Not accessing the value. Awesome, makes sense. So try to search all these topics: array list, hash set, and now the next thing is hash map. So I'll declare after this here. Already I'm having a lot of chaos here, so I'll just try to comment it. Okay, and then I will have another hash map here. So I'll say hash map, and here you have key value pair. So you have to define what are the things you are having. So let's say one thing I'm saying that I will have a string, and second thing I'm saying, like, let's say I will have an integer value. So integer value h equals to what I really want. I want let's say report or something. Okay, report or something. H equals to new hash map. Okay, so now basically what I want now, I want a report of one student. So how will you put it? You have a put method. Okay, you have a put method. So write it here, report dot put, to put the value. So you will put, first time you will put the key, second time you will put the value. Okay, and those do not understand in very detail, I have created a lead code series. If you'll go now search for the lead code series playlist, you'll get 50 to 51 videos. After that there were less response, so management closed it in between, right? And I still have that pain, but anyway, but you will have all these understandings, the basic level of logic formation, basic interview preparation you will have from there. Okay, that's really a cool and nice playlist. You can have access of it. So here I'll put the value, the key is, and the key basically, let's say I'm saying it's a Gaurav, which me, right? Gaurav Pandey. If you will those want to connect with me, you can search Gaurav Pandey mentor on Google. You'll get my LinkedIn profile, or go search on the LinkedIn itself, or search on the Google Gaurav Pandey mentor. You'll get my profile from the LinkedIn. So let's say the student name is Gaurav Pandey. Okay, I'm writing here Gaurav Pandey, and the value I want to put, let's say marks I want to put, probably the 99%. How does it look? People will say, wow, sir. But yeah, it happens here when I want to write myself, then why would I write bad? But any jokes apart, report here, so I'll put this thing. So now look at this. It's coming like this: key value pair, key and value. So no matter how many value you want to put, you can put it here. So whenever you want this format, you will always use this thing. But here you have multiple methods. Okay, so here. Put for the update also, if you, like, key will be unique, key cannot be repeated here. So if right now this, I'm again writing Gaurav Pandey, Gaura Gaurav Pandey. So now look at this is the same key. So what eventually will happen now, here the key will be updated and the value will be updated here. And here I'll put, let's say this time I'm putting here 90 or something. So what eventually will happen, the value will be updated there, right? Rather than creating a new value, it will be updated there. So that's what I'm doing here. Look at this, it's updated now. It's updated now. So that's how you update with the output method itself. Again, how will you access it? So if you want to access, let's say there are multiple people, so I'll put report dot put. Okay, this time I'll put, let's say, IUS, and again here I'll put some value. So let's say this I'm putting 95. Okay, so what eventually will happen? This will come. Okay, now if I print this now, Java C, and this will come as a key in value period. Look at it, it's coming. But what I want to is access specific, then you can have dot method. Okay, dot gate, and here you put the key. Here you put the key. So let's say I'm trying to access the value of the IUS. So here, but that is a string. I have to put a string. So IUS. Awesome. So when I'll try to access now, I'll get the value of the IUs. Look, 95, it's coming. So that's how you access it. Also, you need to explore multiple other methods also, like get or default. Okay, so this is a homework. What it is? Try to learn about get or default. Get or default. But those forget it, go and watch my Elite Code series. You'll get from there. And get or default, or say how do you have keys and values. Okay, how to get all keys. Okay, how to get all values. So all these things you have to search. How to get all the values, all these things. Try to figure it out. But I've given you the one simple concept about the collection framework, because people ask a lot of time in the interview. Even I have given an interview and people were asking me, and they asked me what is the JCF, Java collection framework. So I had to explain. There may be a case that they ask to you, right? But it's a very important concept, so take it seriously. And this is very useful when you do the DS and problem solving. Yeah, but where do you solve the problems? So go to the prep insta. There you'll find 150 not out, free of the resource. So go here, 150 not out. Prep insta. Go here, solve all these 150 questions. You will have really good problem solving skills. Or what else you can do is now go to the YouTube. I'll search for the YouTube here. And here for the people those are not getting the videos, you can go here, search for prep insta, and go to the playlist. Here you will have the playlist of the Java, which I'm putting here. If you want to learn the basic logic building, the common company specific question, watch this series, Lead Code series by Gaurav Pandey. Or if you are preparing for the DSA, you can refer this series, DSA for placement. For everybody, refer this series. But go there. There are really good content available. And I hope you really enjoyed this entire series. But now if you have understood this thing, okay, then try to solve all these MCQs and put the answer. I'll understand how much understanding you have. Then all these 5, try to put the answers. You will get that you have understood lecture or not. If you haven't, then watch it again. Answer these things. And the last question is that how do you create a thread in Java? So with the help of 2 things, one the thread class, second is the runnable class. Try to search about it, try to figure it out for the deeper understanding. But for the interview purpose, for the basic interview purpose in Java, that's more than enough. I hope it's making sense to everybody. And thank you so much for watching this entire video so dedicatedly. And I hope you really loved it. I hope you really enjoyed it, right? You had something new to learn today. Bye-bye to all. Keep practicing. See you in the next lecture, probably the final video of the Java placement series. Bye-bye to all. See you in the next lecture. Till then, keep practicing.